How did we decide that our homepage needed a major facelift? Why did we hire not one, but 3 copywriting agencies to work on our copy? And why won't we run any A/B tests to make sure that the new homepage isn't a complete failure? If that sounds interesting, then keep watching. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tim Solo and you're watching SaaS Marketing Vlog, a place where I'm showing you the behind the scenes of how we do marketing at Ahrefs. So as you can tell from the title of this episode, we spent 33 grand to hire 3 copywriting agencies to write our homepage copy. Sounds like overkill, right? And it probably is. But before I tell you how that went and what we've learned from it, let me first explain why we decided to revamp our homepage in the first place. The most recent version of our homepage was first published back in December 2015, and the original layout was as straightforward as it gets. Bold title, call to action, the so-called hero shot featuring our product interface, a bunch of tabs to showcase the tools that we have in Ahrefs, a section with big numbers to brag about our awesome data, testimonials block obviously, and one more call to action at the bottom. And we really haven't added much over the past 5 years. A subheading, a counter showing how many users joined us in the past 7 days, logos of famous brands where marketing folks are using Ahrefs, collecting which could easily be a separate episode actually, a bunch of extra perks that you get by joining Ahrefs, and the section with links to some of our blog articles. So what was so bad about this homepage that made us want to wipe it out completely and start from scratch? First of all, we wanted to rethink the main message that was conveyed by our homepage. We realized that the company has evolved beyond just tools to grow your search traffic, and we wanted our homepage to reflect where we are today more accurately. Then there was the hero shot. We decided that featuring a screenshot of Ahrefs' interface full of numbers and graphs is not very helpful for someone who is new to our product, perhaps even intimidating. We aim to be the kind of tool that anyone can use, not a secret weapon for a small number of SEO nerds. And our interface isn't actually as scary as it might seem from a quick look at that screenshot. The next concern: tabs with tool descriptions. We felt that those descriptions were a bit generic. And again, big screenshots with lots of numbers and graphs. This way to present Ahrefs tools made sense to us, since we know the platform inside and out, but we felt it was a bad way to introduce new people to Ahrefs. Another concern: the block with the big numbers behind Ahrefs tools. Back in the days it served as our USP. Featuring those big numbers helped us to convey our obsession with SEO data and our goal to be the best at it. Well, as of today, many other companies in our industry have very similar blocks with big numbers on their homepage, which now makes it a commodity rather than a USP. And finally, we felt the actual design of the homepage was a bit outdated, and we needed something more trendy to represent Ahrefs' brand in 2020. Apart from dealing with those 5 concerns, we wanted to get professional help in figuring out what else could be featured on our homepage, how the information should be laid out, and of course the exact words to use. And because 3 heads are better than 1, I asked our CEO and founder Dmitry if he would allow me to hire 3 copywriting agencies and have them work on our homepage copy independently. Other than improving the chance of finding great solutions to our problems, it seemed like an amazing learning opportunity for our team. So, after a bit of pleading from my end, Dmitry agreed to give it a shot. After a few weeks of market research, dozens of customer interviews, and a number of Skype calls discussing our company's vision for the new homepage, the agencies sent us 3 drastically different concepts of the new homepage. One version resembled a long-form sales page with big chunks of text explaining the awesomeness of Ahrefs tools and hitting every known sales trigger there is. Another version was more of a creative approach. Instead of just sticking with the beaten best practices, it featured some out-of-the-box ways to present Ahrefs and resolve the concerns that we had. And finally, the third version was kind of a safe bet. The structure of the page was similar to what we already had, but all those concerns that I listed previously were successfully taken care of. Now, I'm not going to discuss the pros and cons of each approach, because that could easily be perceived as me criticizing the work of these people or perhaps trying to single out someone who did their job better than others. I'm not going to go there. But what I realized from those 3 different versions was that there is no single right way of creating a homepage. If there was one objectively perfect layout and one objectively perfect message, then the 3 professionals who we hired would likely discover it and send us 3 very similar versions of our homepage. But that's not what happened. So the decision on which direction we should pursue came down to the personal preference of the stakeholders in our team, plus a few other contributing factors that I'm about to discuss. Now, many of you would probably ask me in the comments, Tim, but why didn't you just launch all 3 versions of your homepage as an A/B test and see which one would outperform the rest? Well, first of all, in order to run such a test, we'd have to actually design and develop all 3 of these homepage variations, which would take us quite some time. I mean, we're talking about 3 fundamentally different pages, each with their unique structure and unique design. It's not like we're taking the same page and changing a few images and texts here and there to run an A/B test. Other than that, we're not big fans of A/B testing, to be honest, but I'll talk more about it a little later. So what can you learn from our experience so far? Well, since the output you get relies so much on the copywriting professional you choose, make sure you're hiring someone who shares your vision for the project from the start. Otherwise, you'll end up with a result that is unlikely to strike a chord with you and your teammates. The next thing I want to talk about is how market research and customer interviews have influenced the homepage copy that we got from copywriting agencies. If you go to some popular software review website like G2 or Capterra and browse what people say about Ahrefs, you're going to spot this one word many times. Backlink. The thing is, some 10 years ago, Ahrefs was originally launched as a backlink checker tool. And for quite a few years, the company was building its reputation in the SEO industry as the best backlink research tool on the market. And boy did they ever succeed. But today, this is both a blessing and a curse. I mean, we do like it that whenever people talk about backlinks, Ahrefs inevitably comes up as the best tool out there. But as of 2020, we've expanded our toolset way beyond the original backlink research functionality. We have tools for keyword research, content research, website SEO audits, and so on. And each of our tools is actually a very strong contender to the existing alternatives. So this notion of backlinks being our sole competence is actually hurting our brand as much as it is helping us. I'm sure you already see where I'm going with this. After extensive market research and dozens of customer interviews, some of the copywriting agencies insisted that we should prominently feature the backlink research side of Ahrefs on our homepage. This is what they figured we were known for and loved for, so they suggested we need to reinforce that notion on our homepage to match the visitors' expectations. We weren't sold on it though. While positioning ourselves as the best tool on the market for backlink research seemed like a safe bet, it wasn't really aligned with how the company has evolved in the past few years and where it was heading. So in the end, we decided that we should use our homepage to help shape the market perception the way we want it. Now, what's the lesson to learn here? Well, doing market research and customer interviews is obviously important and insightful, but you're not married to what the market thinks of you. If you have confidence that it is in your power to change market perception, you should at least try and see what happens. One last thing that bothered me while embarking on this whole journey with 3 copywriting agencies was how they're going to factor in the design of our new homepage while crafting their copy. That, while we didn't even have any design drafts on our hands yet. I mean, which one even comes first, design or copy? Sounds like a chicken and egg problem to me. My point is, except for the actual words themselves, you have many more tools to deliver information to people's brains. Colors, images, icons, fonts, the size of the elements, the spacing between them, their proximity, and so on. Every agency assured me that they have this figured out and that they will create an actual mock-up, splitting their copy into different blocks and providing some input to our designer on how to go about designing it. Well, that seemed like a plan, until I actually forwarded their mockups to our in-house designer. He chopped those mockups ruthlessly, moved things around, and trimmed anything that he thought was excessive. And now I was in a bit of a predicament because I had to balance between the expertise of professional copywriters and the vision of our equally professional designer, who, as a matter of fact, had many sound arguments of his own. What I realized at the end is that creating a homepage is a highly iterative process, which means there's quite a bit of back and forth between people in charge of design and people in charge of copy. The trick here is to make sure those people don't compete with each other over who's right and who's wrong, but rather collaborate on delivering the best possible result. Lesson to learn: the job of the copywriter is not done until the job of the designer is done. So make sure that the copywriting agency you hire is willing to collaborate with whoever would be designing your page and value their opinion. And now, as promised, let's talk about why we won't be doing any A/B testing of our homepage variations. Previously, I told you that creating 3 fundamentally different pages, each with its unique design and layout, would be a major hassle. But let's say we had the resources to pull this off. Now, with 3 different homepage variations on our hands, which metric do we even A/B test against? Trial signups? That number doesn't mean much unless those people become our paying customers. So paying customers then? Well, that number also won't be meaningful unless we factor in their LTV. Then how about the gross revenue from each homepage variations? Now that might actually do the trick, but to collect enough data, we'll have to run an A/B test for at least 6 months, and preferably a year.
Well, this little maneuver is gonna cost us 51 years!
But Tim, what if you roll out the new homepage without prior testing and your business metrics will plummet because of it? Well, we'll do the same thing we would do if we were to run an A/B test. Go back to the drawing board and try to figure out why the new homepage didn't perform well. So you could say we're still going to run an A/B test, but a serial one, not a parallel one. Okay, so I have explained why we decided to do a major overhaul of our homepage and what we learned from having 3 copywriting agencies to work on its copy. But there's an elephant in the room that I've yet to acknowledge. Was it worth hiring not 1 but 3 copywriting agencies to work on this project? And was it worth spending a hefty 33 grand on our homepage copy alone? Well, apart from getting a ton of experience working with professional copywriters and learning about their workflows and decision-making, apart from my big epiphany that there's no such thing as right copy and that the result will largely depend on the background of the copywriting professional you choose, hiring not 1 but 3 agencies did turn out to be useful for us. From the very start of that project, I warned each agency that we cannot promise them to use their version of the homepage as is, but we are likely to take some specific pieces from it that would resonate with us the most and assemble some sort of a Frankenstein page from them.
I think what you're trying to say is Frankenstein's monster.
What?
I think you mean to call me Frankenstein's monster because Frankenstein is...
Oh, you're one of those guys, huh?
And that is exactly what we did in the end. Each agency has given us at least 1 great idea that made it to the final homepage. Other than that, thinking through the decisions of different copywriting professionals gave us the confidence that our final homepage is as close to the coveted perfection as it possibly could be. But would I recommend you to hire 3 agencies to work independently to revamp your homepage? No, of course not. That is an obvious overkill. What you could do instead, though, is hire 1 agency to do all the heavy lifting with market research and customer interviews and all that, and then consider bringing in a few other copywriting professionals as consultants to give you a second opinion. That would be way cheaper. I guess by the time this video is released, you can already see our new homepage in all its glory at ahrefs.com. And whether you like it or not, make sure to subscribe to this channel, because in the very next episode I'm going to do a review of that homepage and explain in detail why it looks how it looks. Thanks for watching this episode till the end. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to smash that thumbs up button and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. And as always, I'm giving out a free 30-minute Skype call with me where we can talk about your marketing and discuss any challenges that you're facing. Just leave a meaningful comment below and make sure to add the hashtag Team30. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!